Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Crusader coaching workshop of 2021. How are you doing? Man, it feels so good to be back, and it feels so good to be able to speak to all of you this new year. I hope that 2020 was as best of a year as possible for you. I know that in some way, shape, or form, we were all affected by this pandemic, some of us more than others. But at the same time, I hope that right now you are filled with hope as 2021 offers us amazing new possibilities and amazing new chances to grow in our personal and professional lives. And that's exactly what today's workshop is going to be about. Today's workshop is going to be about building willpower. That is what is going to get us through 2021, but more than just get us through, give us an opportunity to really grow and to be able to give back and to be able to make a difference in our community and overall in our world. And so I have no doubt that some of you have created a list of resolutions, and that's exactly why I wanted to make this workshop about willpower, because so many times our resolutions don't work out. And it's not necessarily because our resolutions are bad, it's just the way that resolutions typically get carried out. The system by which the resolution typically starts to manifest itself is a way that doesn't produce sustainability. And that's going to be a big thing that we talk about today, is because willpower is a very interesting concept. And so I want to talk a little bit about how we can use willpower and motivation, but at the same time, the drawbacks of the two things and how we can create a system of discipline and a system of sustainability. So just to give you a quick overview and outline of what we're going to be talking about today in our outline, let me go ahead and give you the rundown. So today, we're going to explore the power of motivation and willpower and how we can use it positively. Then we're going to talk about the myths that surround willpower and motivation, how we can dispel them. Then we're going to talk about creating discipline in your life for 2021. In that discipline aspect, we're going to talk about delivering a few actionable strategies for you to actually be able to take action, which is the most important thing. And we're going to explore a couple of positive habits that you can build in order to make sure that you make this entire year a win for you. And then we're going to finish with developing a couple of skills for sustainability and getting results. So to talk to you a little bit about how our workshops work, if this is your first time watching, we used to do these in person. Because of COVID, we've transitioned to online, and it's going to be online for the next couple of months, at least until we see that some of this vaccine gets distributed more, and we'll transition back to our in-person events, hopefully as soon as possible. So the way that our workshops work is we want for you to not just intake information. We have information overload. What we want for you is an opportunity to transform. We want to create transformation for you in this workshop, and in order for that to happen, you've got to play full out. Have a notebook, have some sort of device to write with. If you have a Microsoft Word or Google Doc, go ahead and open that page and write down or type up what your takeaways are from this, and more importantly, what actions you're going to take, so that way you can have transform in your life. If you're going to invest your time and your energy right now into being in this workshop, then go ahead and play full out, so that way this workshop can be the most benefit for you. Because this is not just a one-day thing. We're talking about giving you a system for 2021 that is going to make that 2021, this year for you, amazing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to start off by talking about a story and how powerful motivation can be. So for those of you who know me, you've heard my story of obesity when I was younger. For those of you who do not, I'm going to share a little bit about that. Growing up, I was obese, and I had a very hard time with my personal confidence, with my personal well-being, and I felt like a loser. And I found motivation through a very popular Japanese anime known as Naruto. And the main character inspired me and gave me the motivation. He lit a fire under me to transform my life. Seeing his struggles, although he was a fictional character, and watching him grow and succeed, it gave me the motivation to do the same thing. It gave me a lot of mental hype, and it really lit a fire under me to want to change my life. And that's why we crave motivation so much, right? Motivation is such a positive energy. It lights a fire. It gives us that mental hype that we're always looking for motivation. And that's powerful. And motivation is really an amazing tool that when we use it the right way, it can really help get us in the right direction. And so think about for a moment in your life, when did you have a moment that was motivating for you? You can go ahead and write it down. You can pause the workshop whenever you want. You can go ahead and write it down and think about how that impacted you in your life and what you learned from it. So I want you to think about something that motivated you in your life and how you were able to use that to help you get going. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the power of will, right? Willpower. And which is the reason why I did this workshop in the first place. Is will is very cool, because think about a time maybe in your life that you had a difficult situation. You know, I had a very bad relationship, and you know, my desire to distance myself from that relationship was so big. It gave me that it helped me take that first step. It gave me that drastic shift that I needed, because, I had that willpower. I was like, I got to get out of this. I got to get away from this. I got to get out of this habit. I got to stay away from this person. And it really gave me the energy to, distance myself, because I felt like I was so stuck with that person, and it was toxic and it was horrible. But I had that willpower, and I was able to just get away from it. And it obviously, getting out of that relationship was a huge shift for me in my life. And maybe in your life, you had a moment like that where, you were tired of something, or you really wanted something, and, that willpower just came to you that easy. And you just instantly took action, and you instantly were able to get out of that situation or get into something better that you wanted. That's what's interesting about willpower. And I like to think about willpower as a power-up, in a video game, where sometimes you may find an item, or you may find some sort of boost, and for a limited amount of time, like maybe 20 or 30 seconds, like you're invincible, right? Like in Mario, you get the superstar, you're invincible. In Sonic, you get the same thing. In Sonic, you get that. I'm trying to remember, it's gosh, I can't remember the item. It's like one of those boxes, and Sonic gets that, and he's invincible for a short amount of time. It's like a shield. Well, that's how willpower works in the real life. We have that boost that kind of helps us, get out of that situation or get into something better. So that's the powerful side. That's the positive side of motivation and will. But now I want to talk a little bit about the myths, because there are a couple of myths that surround motivation and willpower. So number one, that they're necessary to take action. So the thing is, we don't need to be motivated, and we don't need to have willpower to take action. Taking action is as simple as just getting up and doing something. There's a lot of things. Think about this right now in your life. I want you to do a mental experiment. Think about the things in your life that you're not motivated to do, but you do them anyway. Maybe there's a job you have that you don't like, some sort of school assignment, some sort of task. There's a lot of things in life that we're not motivated to do, and we do them anyway. Same thing with willpower. A lot of times you may be exhausted. You may be feeling very, very, very tired. But all of a sudden you think about that favorite game that you have, or that favorite show that you like to watch, and guess what? You still watch it anyways. See, there's There's so many things in life that we do, from Instagram, Facebook, to Netflix, to work, to people that we don't necessarily want to be with. There's so many things in our life that we do that we don't really have motivation for or willpower, but yet we do them anyway. And yet, what's interesting is that there's so many good things in our life that we want to do, but we don't do them. And these are things that are good for us. They're good habits. They're good, maybe businesses. They're good things that we trick ourselves into thinking that we have to be motivated or have will to do them, or it's necessary to have this huge amount of willpower to make this big change. But in reality, it's not. What really is powerful is having discipline, which is exactly what we're going to focus on today. Instead of relying on our emotional willpower or our emotional motivation, we got to rely on a power that is reliable, sustainable, and repeatable. I'm very big into words and language. The word discipline actually refers to the study of something. If you are a disciple of someone or something, that means that you're a student. And no matter what you do, each and every single one of us are disciples of life. In other words, we all are in the discipline of life. The thing is that there are certain people who have certain systems that they optimize their discipline with. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is creating a basic system for your life that's going to help you not just in 2021, but further beyond. And that is very important because you're going to have days, and I'm sure you've already had them, as have I, where you have zero motivation and zero willpower to get through your day. But for me, having discipline, having habits has been a game changer, because there's been days where I don't want to record a video or do a workshop or coach a client or write or post on Instagram, whatever that might be. But because I have the discipline and the system, it gets done. The most important thing is for you right now is, if you feel like you don't have any of that, join me right now as I walk through how you can cultivate and practice discipline. So creating discipline really is not some sort of secret mumbo jumbo, secret art, like I'm going to give you some sort of secret here in my hand. Creating discipline is very simple. It's all about taking one short step. And a lot of times we think that our big dreams are too big for us. And a lot of times they are. And we suffer from analysis paralysis. I do that too sometimes. The biggest thing to do is remember, no matter how big your dream might be, whatever it is that you want to create in 2021 or beyond, you can only do it one step at a time. So never be afraid to dream big, but also never forget to take small steps each and every single day in order to create that big dream for you. And discipline is built and cultivated the same way. It's one step at a time. It's doing that first workout, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 2 push-ups. It's registering that business. It's having that conversation with that guy or that girl. It's just doing the smallest, teeny, tiniest thing to get the ball moving, so that way you have the opportunity to build that discipline, to build that system. My call to action for you today, if you take anything from this workshop at all, is to take One action. That's it. To get the ball moving for you. Everything else is extra points. If you can walk out of here with the motivation and the action to get one thing done, then this workshop, this time invested for you, was a huge success. Because that's what this is about. Now, if you want to go further, keep going with me on this ride. So, how I divide my life is into a daily, a weekly, a monthly, and a yearly structure. For 2021, think about your vision. What is your vision for 2021? What do you want to create this year? Now, that's a huge question. So I want you to take your time and really think about that. If you have no idea what you want to happen in 2021, I want you to sit for a couple of minutes and just ask yourself a very simple question. What do I want to create in 2021? How do I want to grow in 2021? And what do I want to give back in 2021? And that's for your year, okay? Now, the strategy part comes in when we talk about the daily, the monthly, and the weekly system. So I'm going to start with the monthly aspect. We're going to go from macro to micro. So what would make this month amazing? That's a great way to build a monthly goal. And I think about, my life, for example, this January, I'm going to go on a short trip to Denver. And that was my amazing, month goal. And during that trip, I'm going to be building my 2021. And I'm going to be building what my goals are. And I'm going to be taking some time to get some disconnection and some spiritual growth, because that's going to help my business and everything else in my life, my relationships, etc. So that's how I made my month amazing. And then there's the weekly system. Now, the way that the weekly system works is you give yourself a couple of minor projects that you know that you can dedicate maybe 1 or 2 hours a week to getting it done. And then there's a daily system where you have no more than 3 major tasks or big wins, as I like to call them, so that you know that no matter what, you've won the day. Now, there's a very interesting thing that I like to talk about because a coach of mine told me this. He says, Mauro, if you can master your day, then you can master your life. And which is very true. If you can win your day, and you win every day, and you won Monday through Sunday, then you won your week. If you repeat that every week, then you win your month. If you repeat that every month, then you win your year. The main thing, though, is starting with that first task and getting it done. But at the same time, if you focus only on the short term, then the vehicle might stray. And that has happened to me. But let me say one thing. As long as your vehicle is going, at least it's moving. It's better than nothing. But if you find yourself like me, this has happened to me a lot of times, where your vehicle is going, but it's always going somewhere different and never really where you want to go, then taking some time to work on your vision is going to help you. Because if you've already gone past that initial phase and you're in phase 2 and you want to get to phase 3, to that big vision, then you've got to take some time to plan, which is why I'm doing, for me personally, this 4-day kind of personal, spiritual, physical retreat to go to Denver. That's my way of doing it. Ask yourself, how can you build some of that into your life? How would you build it? Would you go alone? Would you go with somebody? Would you hire a coach? Would you just go ahead and disconnect for a few hours, maybe a day? But you got to book some time for you to build that 2021, to build that vision is super important if you've already gotten started. And obviously, if you've gotten to that point, you already have some discipline. And if you have some discipline, then everything else is cake. So back to the initial phases, right? So assuming that we're back to level 1 and you want to have some actionable strategies. Well, the 2 actionable strategies that we're going to talk about today is creating sustainability and creating positive habits. And the 2 positive habits that I'm going to focus on today are focus and concentration. So a lot of times, the reason why we don't get where we want to go and we don't have those sustainable results is because we have so much waste, right? And if you think about a lot of the Green Earth initiatives, if you think about like preserving the rainforests and preserving nature, that has to do with sustainability. And that has to do a lot with cutting waste. And the waste that we have in our life are distractions. And so a lot of times we all have focus and we all have concentration. The problem is we have a lot of distractions. And so if you want to build a positive habit of focus and concentration, then you've got to put yourself in an environment where you won't be distracted. And that means mentally and physically. So noise is a huge distraction. And I'm not talking about music, because you can use music to help you focus. I'm talking about just random noise, people screaming in the background, you being in an environment where you really can't focus on what you're doing because you're thinking about what other people are doing and saying. And then there's the mental, there's the Facebook, there's the phone, there's the computer. Look, if you want to build discipline and you want to have 2021 be the year where you accomplish your dreams, then you have to be able to take that one day or that 1 hour or that one whatever week where you detox and you cut all the distractions and waste from your life, at least for that time. Doesn't mean that I don't use Facebook. Doesn't mean that I don't go on Netflix or Instagram or whatever. It just means that I understand that my dreams take priority over all those things, whether if it's a video game, whatever it might be, because I'm a huge gamer. But you've got to know when it's time to cut that waste, and you got to put yourself in an environment where that won't distract you. And the easiest way to do that is to find a place where you can go, where you won't be distracted, or you can do what I do, is you can create one. I have a corner in my room that I use specifically only to pray. I have a corner here in my home office that I use specifically only to work. And I remove any objects that would distract me from currently being able to work on whatever it is that I want to do. Clean your desk, clean your mind. One coach told me that. It's amazing, and it really does work. A decluttered desk with no distractions makes a huge difference. And the other thing I want to talk about is one thing that I had a coach that he calls the quit switch. And the quit switch is super interesting because it's exactly how it sounds. The second that you feel like quitting, you flip the switch and you stop doing whatever you're doing. That is one of the worst things you can do. If you can learn to build this discipline, then you'll never flip the quit switch and you'll always be able to get your goals done. The quit switch is that wall that we hit where we feel like things are too hard and we quit. It might be that obstacle, it might be that person, whatever it might be. And then we flip the switch and we quit. And then we wonder why 6 months later we haven't changed. Well, a lot of times in my life, I didn't even realize that I was flipping the quit switch with certain things. But a lot of times we do it subconsciously. We just kind of give up. And then we're like, wait a minute, what happened? Building that tolerance is super important. And the only way you can build that tolerance is by building that daily habit every single day, getting those 3 big wins done. So that way, you never flip the switch, and guess what? Your goals always become reality. And sometimes there's certain things that maybe are not within your control. I've had a couple of situations, partnerships, some people that I've worked with that haven't always been the best choices. And a lot of that responsibility also falls onto me too. But guess what? That's okay. You know, you make a mistake, you learn, you move on, and you do it better. But that's different than quitting. You hit a wall and you pivot, or you take a break, you refocus, you take some time off and you refocus. That's not quitting. There's a big difference between that. But what ends up happening though is that those micro quits, you know, where maybe you completely quit for a month or you completely quit for 2 weeks, you know, if you're not careful, those can build up as well. And those can also end up being a huge amount of waste in our life. So one of the biggest things you can do is knowing when to say no to something. But it's a lot easier to say no to something when you said yes to something better. So get clear on what your vision is for 2021 and make your strategy. So I want to share with you quickly my 5-step process that I include in all the workshops to helping you get that vision, whatever it is for you, or that dream to life. 5 steps is vision, strategy, mindset, skill set, and energy. Now, the vision portion is very straightforward. It's what transformation will this create in your life? The strategy is how will it happen? And we talked about that with the daily system, the weekly system, the monthly system. The mindset is, well, what beliefs do I currently have about this that are stopping me from getting this accomplished? The skill set is, well, what skills do I have already and what skills do I need in order to make this dream happen? And then the energy portion has a lot to do with distractions. Is how am I going to create the energy in order for me to get this done? And a lot of that has to be spending time in the places, doing the things, and with the people that are positive, and cutting out the people, the places, and the things that are negative. And if you can master that 5-step system, then you'll be able to get any dream or any goal accomplished in your life. And you can use that for anything, really. And it works really well. So for building willpower, to wrap this all up, remember, it's all about cultivating discipline, because discipline is always reliable, it's sustainable, and it's repeatable. Even when you don't want to do it, if you already have a habit and you're already disciplined in something, chances are, no matter what, you're going to get it done. So on that note, I hope that this workshop was beneficial for you. If you found that this content was awesome, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook. You can also support us on Patreon. We're going to be recording and releasing these workshops virtually month by month, and a couple of podcasts as well. Stay tuned for February's workshop that we're going to announce in the next 7 days. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Go ahead and share this with anyone whom you like and invite them to like our channel as well. I hope that 2021 is going to get started for you in a very, very, very powerful way. And until next time, as always, take care and stay strong.